During lacrosse season, you'll find MBA graduate student Brad Davis playing defense for the Bellarmine Knights. But during the off-season, there's a good chance he might be on a plane to Uganda to see his biggest fan and closest friend, his sister Katie. Growing up, Brad and Katie were super close. So you can imagine his thoughts when Katie decided to pursue charity work and uproot her life from Brentwood, Tennessee to one of the poorest countries in the world. Foregoing her plans to go to college, Katie moved to Uganda in 2008, where she founded the nonprofit organization Amazima Ministries. The word Amazima means truth in the native language of Uganda. The organization sponsors, feeds, and educates roughly 700 to 800 children. Katie also adopted 13 girls whom each have their own story to tell. While Katie's efforts to change the world are inspiring to anyone who hears her story, it wasn't exactly easy for Brad, her little brother and best friend, to watch her leave.
Well, at first, I think for me it was more just puzzled, confused, frustrated. I had no idea why would someone want to move to Uganda, to the middle of Africa, rather than, going to college or staying at home. And it was hard for me because we were really close. We were best friends. Since I was born, she was always taking care of me, hanging out with me and my friends, or doing things for me when my mom was gone, cooking meals, things like that. So my first thought was confused, maybe hurt, upset, frustrated. I just really didn't understand the whole thing.
Although it was tough being separated from his sister, Brad eventually saw Katie's perspective on life in Africa. Now, 8 years and 4 visits to Uganda later, he couldn't be more proud to be her brother.
Well, it definitely took a while. I think it really took until I went over there and visited and saw firsthand what she was doing to really understand why she would want to do that. And now I couldn't be more proud of her for the things she's accomplished, the things she's doing, the things she'll continue to do.
Despite living in 2 completely different countries, Brad and Katie have been able to keep the same tight-knit bond they've had since they were kids. I talked with their parents, Scott and Mary Pat Davis, where they enlightened me on the type of relationship Katie and Brad share.
I believe they built a foundation when they were younger, when they were young kids, and that followed through middle school and high school, and they became best friends, not only siblings, and it's just the 2 of them in our family, and our family dynamic is unique in that we have a daughter that lives in Africa, and so you don't get birthdays together, you don't get holidays together, and so they had to make an effort to stay in touch, and I think they respect each other and what each other do.
And they've always been very thoughtful towards one another. Katie would leave Brad's notes for his lacrosse and hockey games, and Brad would write her little notes.
As the Davises said, their family dynamic is anything but normal. Unlike some families who might be separated by state borders, an ocean separates Brad and Katie. But this doesn't stop them from being active parts in each other's lives. While they may not be physically together all the time, they make the effort 24/7 to communicate with each other about their day-to-day activities.
Well, I think obviously getting to know Brad over the years, family for him comes first over everything, and he's just very passionate in what he does in every single thing, and to keep that family relationship with his sister that's thousands of miles away. I've heard him up plenty of nights late, like Skyping his sister and his nieces, and I've also heard him up early in the morning doing the same thing, and that just kind of shows that he does everything he possibly can to try and still keep that family relationship, even though his family situation right now is very, very unique. They communicate throughout the year until they get to see each other usually once a year, and when I got to go the one time, it was like they just picked up from where they were last time, and they fill each other in with what's going on in each other's life throughout the year, like Skyping and texting, so they know what's going on, and then when they get there, they're just brother and sister, and you see that all come out, but they just are doing the same exact thing that they would have done if they were here or in Nashville or wherever they were.
Despite having years to get used to the idea of his sister's lifestyle in Uganda, Brad still finds himself completely in awe of Katie. He shared with me a couple of his favorite memories when looking back on his past trips to Africa.
The one time, and actually Steve and I were over there, and I think it was on a Thursday, and me and my dad had gone out somewhere maybe to get food or something, and we came back to the house, and there's just this line of maybe 100 or so people just lined up out Katie's door at her home. And I walk inside Katie and ask Katie, what's going on? And she said, well, every Thursday, people that are sick or wounded or injured, they come over and they line up at our house, and I take care of them. And me, her little brother, is thinking like, what do you mean you take care of them? Like, you're not a nurse, you didn't go to school or anything for like that. She's like, no, I take care of them. I give them shots, IVs, whatever I need to do. It's just mind blowing for me to see all these people depending on Katie on a daily basis. When I look at her and you think, well, wow, she's like, if this was in the States, like it'd be completely different. But all these people really depending on her, every Thursday to get things that they need.
At Bellarmine, many people know Brad as the lacrosse player. But in the eyes of his 13 nieces, he's just Uncle Brad. He talked with me about the surreal moment when he first met them.
She had actually finalized all 13 adoptions before I have ever got to go and actually meet them. So I had Skyped every once in a while. I tried to memorize their name from pictures, but just kind of paint a picture. We got there the first time I ever went. I think we arrived at like 3 a.m., so all the girls were asleep. And I think I woke up around 5 a.m. and all the girls were awake, and right when I walked out of my room, there's just 13 girls that are yelling Uncle Brad and just jumping on you, and I mean that experience for me was awesome, and ever since it's been awesome. Just getting to know them, seeing them grow up over the past 7 or 8 years, and being able to go 4 times. Every time you go, you don't want to leave, and you see the girls grow every time. And again, whenever I Skype Katie, I'm Skyping them at the same time, asking about school, how their lives are going. So that's been really cool to be able to keep in contact with them while being over here as well.
Whether it's on the lacrosse field, in the classroom, or on a plane to Uganda, Brad Davis always keeps his family close at heart. If you'd like to know more about Katie and her story, you can purchase her book, Kisses from Katie, a New York Times bestseller. Or you can log on to amasmia.org, where she continues to share her ongoing story of relentless love and redemption. For Bellarmine Sports, I'm Olivia Reibel.